Welcome back to the shop. In our last two videos, we went over joining and planing rough sawn lumber so we can S4S. And in this video, we're going to go ahead and complete that by using a table saw to cut these boards to width. So we got our boards here, and while we could just set up and, because these are almost 4 inches anyways, and we're just gonna run them off this straight edge that we made with the joiner, but this board has this rough sawn bit on the same edge as our flat joint. So what we're gonna do is actually set the saw wider, shave this side off, and then set the saw to 4 inches so that most of this will come off. Well, a little bit is probably gonna be left over. It'll just come out in the sanding after the panel up. So first thing that we're gonna do is not only a safety tip, but also just does a cleaner cut and it's more efficient for the sawdust extraction on the blade. So we're gonna set the height to it. So what I like to do is take one of my boards, put it right next to the blade, and then we're just gonna crank that up. Wrong way. Helps if you do it the right way. We're just gonna have the blade so the teeth are just clearing like that. And that helps make it so that the gullet, which is the part behind the tooth, creates a vacuum and it actually extracts the sawdust. It works more efficiently when it's still partially in the wood. Not only that, but it's safer. So let's say if you're coming across and you accidentally touch the blade, which remember, number one rule of woodworking is don't touch the blade. You're only gonna get a cut that has to be stitched up, where you see some guys and they like running their blades like this. Not only is it less efficient on extracting the sawdust out, but if you accidentally come across that, it's taking the whole finger off, or thumb, which I don't know about you, I really like my thumb. So let's just go ahead and walk that back down in there. So that's all we really need right there. So we're gonna go ahead and start with this one, which has the bit of rough sawn still showing on the jointed edge. And I'm gonna do that because I gotta do a blind cut first to clear this, and then take the 4 inches out. And after that, it's already set at 4, and that's what I'm taking the rest of them at. I just don't wanna move the blade twice. Sometimes it's quicker and easier just to get it up in there and line her up like that. There we go. Get some dust collection going. There we go, that'll work just fine. Make sure we got it all off. So let's go ahead and bring this back to 4 inches. There we go. I'm gonna flip it over so we can get this rough saw on the outside, on our waist. So now we got a nice clean board for our center panel that has no rough sawn or anything on it. So we'll just set this off to the side and go ahead and cut the rest. So it looks like that one was starting to pinch up on me a little bit. You heard when it bogged down when I finally broke free. This board was pinching in on the blade, but that's what this, let me turn this off. So as we saw when I was cutting, that started pinching up on the blade, and that's just stress that's inside the wood. And this right here is called a riving knife. Now it doesn't matter what table saw you buy nowadays, they're mandated to come with a riving knife. And the whole purpose of that is to stop kickback, because if you don't have that and it pinches onto the blade's gonna grab the board and send it right back at you. So you always wanna leave this on unless you're doing like a dado cut or something like that. What a lot of table saws also come with, which you don't see on here, is a blade guard. And I'm not going to go into the debate that happens these days about whether you should or should not use the blade guard. I personally think it's more dangerous, but that's just my opinion. But always, always use your riving knife. That's pretty much it. We've gone ahead and we've jointed two faces on this, a face joint and an edge joint. We sent it through a planer, and now that table saw gave us our second edge. So this lumber is now S4S, which is exactly what we want. So when we pull it all tight together, everything's very tight glue joints. Now we got a lot more lumber that we got to go ahead and work through, but we just wanted to give you a couple tips and tricks. When using the table saw, again, make sure you got your riving knife. You also want to make sure that your hands are clear. You know, that last bit where you see my hands going past the blade, I'm not just autopiloting right through it. That's probably where I'm most concentrating on where all my appendages are, because I don't know about you, I want to be a woodworker that has all my fingers. So you might have noticed on that above shot that you saw me nosing into the fence right when I went into the cut, and after I cleared into the cut, I pushed it up against the fence. The reason why I personally do that, and it's just my own style, is that I've seen a lot of people have trouble start off keeping it against the fence when they enter the cut, and you usually find your boards that taper a little bit. And it just became a habit when I was running a straight line rip saw that I would nose in, and as soon as the blade grabbed, I would just slip it into the fence and it would just track straight every time. Maybe give it a shot, maybe don't. If you got a trick for running a table saw, why don't you leave a comment below and tell us what you think is a better method, and maybe we'll test it in the future. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell icon for notifications, and we'll see you on the panel of video coming up next.